Okay, what's going on, guys? We're gonna do we did a lot of box fill examples already, part of a little box fill series. Today we're gonna jump to 314, the next section of it that's pretty important, which is gonna be 314.28. So 314.16 talks about boxes and junction boxes for conductors 6 og and smaller and how to size all of those. And we've done a lot of examples on this YouTube channel about that, right? But 314.28 goes over junction boxes that are going to be larger than 6 og conductors. So that's what we're going to cover on this portion. So 314.28 examples. It's going to be a very simple, straightforward video. It's not too difficult, but it's going to be good to explain the rest of it. It's kind of like step one of the next steps of U-pulls and angle pulls that have to do with 314.28. So today we're going to talk about straight pulls through junction boxes for conductors 4 og and larger, and how large these actual enclosures need to be per code. They're minimum sizes, of course. So I have example one. I got 5 examples in this little short PowerPoint we're hoping to do. It's a straight pull, right? So I have an installation that requires sizing a box with 4 parallel runs of 3-inch EMT. So here on the right, I made this little image. I got 4 parallel runs of what is 3-inch EMT. So I got both sides. This is a straight pull. I'm pulling wire through each one of these, going a set amount of distance. I want to know how large does our can actually have to be. And for straight pulls, it's very simple. It's just going to be, as 314.28 depicts, times 8 the largest conduit entering the box. So what that looks like is that there is a 3-inch conduit that enters the box. There's 4 of them. We don't care. Because the way the code reads, I don't care if there's 7 billion conduits in the box. I only care that they're 3-inch. I'm just taking the largest one. I only care what the largest one actually is. And then I multiply that one by 8, and I get 3 times 8 equals 24 inches. So the minimum length of this can or enclosure needs to be 24 inches. Essentially putting the minimum distance between conduit to conduit needs to be 24 inches. So that way when pulling these conductors, whether they be 4 og, whether they be 250 kc mil, whether they be 3-aught, whatever they are, I have enough space to actually bend these conductors within this pull box at the pull point and get them safely without damaging any insulation into the next location. We're going to do next example. These are not very difficult, but it's a good little step for us to go through. I have example 2, straight pulls again, an installation that requires sizing of a box for 2 parallel runs of 2-inch IMC. So I have a parallel run for 2-inch IMC. Great. 2 inches coming at the top, 2 inches coming about the bottom. I don't care what material it is. So if it's IMC, if it's EMT, if it's RMC, I don't mind. I just care what size it is. It's 2-inch. Great. The 2-inch tells me all I need to know based off 314.28. I don't care that there's 2 of them. Remember, I only care what the largest one is. The largest one is 2-inch. They're both 2-inch. So it's going to be the 2-inch conduit times 8 gives me 16 inches, right? So minimum distance between conduit to conduit across from each other is going to be at least 16 inches. So I need at least a 16-inch by 16-inch can. Now, they probably sell more readily available 18 by 18-inch cans, so you be my guess. But what we do know is I cannot use a 12 by 12 can at this location. Next one. I have example 3, straight pulls again. I have an installation that requires sizing a box for 4 parallel runs of 2-inch RMC, rigid metal conduit. Again, I don't care that it's rigid. I didn't care if it was EMT. I didn't care if it was IMC. I don't care if it's flex. I just care what size, the trade size is that material. That material is 2-inch. Great. 2 inch is what I'm going to use as my multiplier. I also still don't care that there's 4 of them coming in. I'm just worried about the distance between those conduits. They're straight pulls, so I don't have to worry about how many are being stacked in a row at all. So for this one, I have 2 times 8 again, 16-inch can minimum again. Scenarios you could run into though for straight pulls is you might not actually have enough space for the minimum required distance between the conduits for all those conduits to actually go in, right? So I mean, say you had 3-inch conduits and there's 4 of them, you might run out of space in a 16-inch by 16-inch can. So important that you might go larger on can size just to fit the amount of conduits you want to fit going in a straight row. But the minimum size between the conduit on the right side and the conduit on the left side is going to be 16 inches. Next one. I got example 4. Straight pulls again. I have an installation that requires sizing a box for 2 parallel runs of 2-inch EMT and 2 parallel runs of 3-inch EMT. So here's the only one that has any fun stuff on it. I got 2 different sizes of conduit, 2-inch EMT and 3-inch EMT. For this one, I don't care that there's 2-inch conduits in the can. I want to know what the largest conduit is. The largest conduit in this enclosure is going to be a 3-inch conduit. So for my application for the multiplication of what we're supposed to be doing, it's going to be a 3 times 8 equals, which is what we got there. 3 times 8 equals a 24-inch can. So for this illustration that I got, even though I have 2 different sizes of conduits, it didn't matter. I must pick the largest conduit, multiply it by 8, and I get 24, right? Remember, only for straight pulls. Right, we're using this example to build off for further examples when we go to U pulls and angle pulls, which we'll deal with as well. My last and final example. I have for straight pulls, I have an installation that requires sizing a box for 3 parallel runs of 4-inch EMT and 1 parallel run or 1 run of 3-inch EMT, which obviously we didn't make that image as great as we could have. What are you going to do? Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. You know, it's life. What's important? I got a 4-inch conduit and I got a 1-inch or I got a 3-inch conduit. Well, the 4 is definitely bigger than the 3. So my multiplier for my times 8 for these straight pulls in this can is going to be the 4. And 4 times 8 gives me 32 inches. So I need this can to be a minimum of 32 inches across, or distance between conduit to conduit. Now, what can's more readily available? Probably 36 by 36. But who knows? It just depends. They make cans in all certain different types of sizes. Obviously, the more readily available the can is, the cheaper it's going to be. Obviously, things that are floating around, right? Anyways, that's my last example for these. Obviously, they're all really simple. They're all really not that hard, right? I need to find the largest conduit. I need to multiply it by 8, and that's how the minimum distance of my can has to be that large between pipe to pipe. And that's for straight pulls, right? So next one we'll probably do is going to be U pulls, angle pulls. It'll be fun. It's a little bit different than what we did here, but this is our building information, right? We need something to build off, so this was the simple one. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I'll catch you guys in that next one. Peace.